how to be fucking awesome with your money. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Sugar Mama's Fireplay. Today, this morning, right now, I want to bring you a no excuses, straight to the point guide on how to be fucking awesome with your money. Because let's be real, financial success doesn't happen by accident. It's not something you're born with. It's about mindset. It's about habits. It's about action. And it's about being committed, dedicated, and incredibly patient. So if you're sick of feeling stuck, if you want more control over your financial future, and you are ready to level up, this is the perfect episode for you. I'm going to share with you 10 key principles straight from the book How to Be Fucking Awesome by Dan Meredith that I recently read. And all these brilliant principles I'm going to apply to your own personal finance. These are completely unfiltered. There are no bullshit strategies that will help you take complete ownership, grow your wealth, and transform your financial life. So let's get straight into it. So number one, take ownership of your financial life. No more blaming. No more blaming your upbringing, your history, your job, the economy, or past mistakes. No more playing victim. Stop crying poor and stop waiting for someone else to rescue you. The government won't save you, your boss certainly won't save you, and no one is coming to fix your financial situation except you. So it is time to accept this fact and to step up and take ownership of your past mistakes, draw a line in the sand, and move forward. The only person who is going to transform your financial future is you. Know that, accept that, understand that, and respect that. That is when you start to move forward. Now, a classic example that I see of people getting stuck with this point is people who say they're just no good with money. And they use this as an excuse to never save, never invest, to never really even have a go at trying. And if they do, it's a half-assed effort and lasts about a week. The truth is, no one is born good with money. It's something you have to learn. The moment you take ownership of that and say, you know what, I'm working on my finances. I'm getting better at my finances. I'm getting in better control of my financial future. That's when things start to change. They start to shift and you experience those breakthroughs. So if you get stuck with this and you think you might be guilty of this yourself, have a go at maybe writing down one thing that you've been using as an excuse or blaming external factors around you, like your income or your debt or your lack of saving, and instead ask yourself, what can I actually do about this myself today? And then put that in action immediately. It is time to start growing up, leveling up, and seeing that financial success that you are more than capable and worthy of. Number two, discipline over motivation. Look, motivation is fleeting. One day you're completely pumped to save, to invest, to put money in your superannuation, to start earning passive income. The next, you want to blow all that money on a weekend away, a new handbag, a new pair of shoes, a new gadget, or just a big night out with your friends. The only way to build wealth is through self-discipline, taking control of your financial habits and sticking to them on a consistent basis. Myself, I have so many rules when it comes to finances, but one of the most important ones is checking in on my progress. I check in on our mortgage. I check in on our budget and our cash flow. I check in on my superannuation. I check in on my passive income and my investments. All these little things, the tracking, the reviewing, the rereading of my financial goals, they are just an automatic habit for me, like brushing my teeth. I don't even think about it, I just do it. Wealth isn't built through this like haphazard, ad hoc, occasional effort. It's built through consistent action, being dedicated and committed, and having a habit system in place that is in positive correlation to those financial goals actually happening. So if you don't have any financial habits in place and you're serious about getting better with your money and becoming fucking awesome with your money, start with just one simple habit and build from there. That might be a bi-weekly budget check-in with your cash flow, which is something I recommend as part of the Sugar Mama Budget and Cash Flow Academy. Or perhaps it's a quarterly check-in with your superannuation, making sure your employer is paying correctly, making sure the money is invested correctly, and making sure that you are tracking how much income your superannuation investment portfolio earns you. Make sure it's consistent. I do recommend a weekly habit over a quarterly habit because it's very easy to drop those quarterly habits. So the more regular, the easier it is to build, the easier it is to stick, and the easier it becomes one of those organic, consistent habits that you don't think about, you just do automatically. So for example, if you have debt and you want to pay off that debt, perhaps you check that debt every single Friday morning or every single Monday morning. If you want to start investing, perhaps you check your investment portfolio every Monday morning or perhaps every Sunday. If you want to start saving, perhaps you start checking your savings account every single day if you like. The more regular you can do this, whether it be daily, weekly, is going to be so much more successful than doing it fortnightly, monthly, or quarterly. But you must commit to this for a minimum of 90 days to actually see the true benefits that come from having a powerful habit system built by discipline over motivation. 3, get comfortable with being completely uncomfortable. Savings and investing can feel painfully slow, boring, and at times incredibly frustrating. Trust me, I feel it all the time when I'm doing my own consistent habit check-in system and reviews. But that's okay, because this is actually where the biggest and best and most powerful growth actually happens. The growth that really does transform you and takes you to the next level. So think about it. Going to the gym, you don't see the results after just one session or even 5 sessions, but going consistently to the gym over time. Your body slowly transforms. It feels more toned, you feel fitter, you feel stronger, your posture improves. It is exactly the same principle when it comes to money. Watching your savings grow $50 at a time may feel insignificant, so much so that you may even feel inclined to just stop because you're not seeing the results quick enough. But trust me, stick to that $50 per week and fast forward 5 years, that's how people start to build serious wealth. And the point is to come back to point number 2, it's the habit. You might only start with $50 per month. That is perfectly fine. But you will find that if you stick to it and you review your goals, you read your goals all the time, that $50 won't stay stuck at $50. It will go from 50 to 60 to 80 to 100 to 120 to 150 to 200 and so on. Before you know it, you won't even be thinking about it. You'll be watching your savings account grow at a rapid rate. And of course, that is where we have the compounding interest kick in as well to help support you even further and reward you for being consistent. But you need to understand you're going to feel upset. You're going to feel tired. You're going to feel at times perhaps even a little bit burnt out. But that is okay because you need to remind yourself it's these small, consistent actions that lead to massive results. And of course, there are going to be times where you have to learn to say, no, we can't do that. I can't afford that. It's not in my budget right now. Or even better, not that I can't afford that, I'm choosing to use my money for something else, something that's actually going to serve me for my long-term financial freedom. It's okay to say no. It's healthy to say no. Just like saying no to children sometimes is important. It teaches them boundaries. It teaches them how to respect their needs, their wants over the long run and get better perspective of the big picture of life. And here, that big picture of life is you being fucking awesome with money and actually having lots of money, earning lots of money, seeing it in your bank account, seeing it in your investment portfolio, seeing it in your superannuation portfolio. This is what being fucking awesome about money really is. So get comfortable with being uncomfortable at times. Boring, frustrated, sacrificing, and just plain slow. It's okay. Trust me, this works and it's worth it. Number 4, take massive action. You've got to stop waiting for this perfect time to start investing. Stop looking for that market crash and think I'll wait until the market crashes and then I'll start investing, or I'll wait until I start earning more money and I get that promotion or that pay rise, or I'll wait until I've paid off my credit card debt and my HEX debt, or I'll wait until I've built up my emergency money, or I'll wait until I get a new job and move countries and then I'll start thinking about your finances. Cut the bullshit, just shut up and get moving, get started. Whether it is paying off debt, whether it is saving, whether it is investing, start working on your finances. Stop dragging the chain. Stop making excuses. You are costing yourself a lot of time and money. I know so many people who have spent years waiting and researching for investing. And they research all these different stocks and then they sit and they wait for a market crash. But the thing is, quite often, it never really happens. Or if it does happen, it's a mild correction or pullback, and it's not really the crash that they were expecting. And before we know it, the markets bounce back. And all those investments that they were thinking about buying and researching are now sometimes more expensive than what they were planning at buying them back when they first had gotten started. So stop trying to pick the market. Stop trying to be this perfectionist. It's not going to happen. Even the experts who've been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years, they still get it wrong. Just get started. And if it's even just $500 per month into a listed investment company, which is a pre-populated diversified investment portfolio of Australian stocks, you can build from that. You means you are started. You've started taking that concept of investing and actually planted it into reality, and you can now see that investment portfolio as you log into your online trading account. Stop costing yourself valuable time. Get started. Learn about ETFs. Learn about listed investment companies. Pick the right investment platform. I have a podcast, or a couple of podcasts actually, dedicated to explain how to find the right investment platform. Learn about your superannuation. Look at what's going on there. Look and speak to your payroll team, your HR team, your boss about looking at salary sacrificing. Again, even if you just start with something, it's better than nothing, because you can take that and build from it quickly over time. And when it comes to that concept of massive action, look at the other things you can do in bursts and spurts to hustle extra money, save extra money, invest more money. And as a financial planner, the golden rule is don't invest in something you don't understand. But that doesn't mean you stop right there and never actually invest in that. It is important that you learn. Keep going until you do understand. And hey, yes, you may come out the other side after your research and go, actually, this isn't the right investment for me. That's great. That's not time wasted. You now know and have a clear idea as to what you really do want to invest in. But I will say at the same time, the fastest way to learn is by doing. Once you have a reasonable idea as to what you want to invest in, get started. So many things I have learned, and even including mistakes, are on the go. And they have been the best and most valuable mistakes and lessons that I've gained, as well as making great decisions by simply just getting on and doing it. Stop the talk, start seeing action. Number 5, surround yourself by winners. Who you hang around with really does matter. And that's not to say you have to cut out your friends that aren't good with money. Far from it. And I'll teach you something in a second about how to protect yourself from those people with toxic financial influences so that it doesn't impact your life in a second. But if you want to spend time with people who complain about money, always cry poor, always say that they don't earn enough, they don't have enough, they get jealous of people that have more, they even behave in a sort of toxic manner, they self-destruct, they're squanderless, they blow all their money, they love to keep up with the Joneses, they have nothing to show for themselves, then you're going to absorb that without even actually realizing it. So it is so important that you try and surround yourself with people who inspire you instead, people who motivate you. Now, I understand that you might be, a bit of a unicorn, a bit of an exception, that you're the only person that you know that wants to be better with money. All your friends are spending all their money, complaining about their money, making, high-risk investment gambling decisions with their money. That doesn't mean you necessarily need to cut them off, far from it, but it means you need to protect yourself from them. A little technique that I teach in the Sugar Mama Money Mindset Manifestation program is called the TP. The TP is a mirror, and when people start talking about money in a toxic, negative way, you've got to protect yourself. So you call upon this TP. The TP is made of mirrors, and the mirrors are on the outside. So you imagine this TP coming over you, like almost like a cone, and it blocks out the energy of people. And because it's a mirror, it allows the people who are gambling, who are spending money recklessly, who are complaining, who are crying poor, playing victim, it allows them to see themselves in their mirror. It gives them the reflection and gives them perspective to see how they are showing up in life, what that actually looks like to other people. And hopefully they can see that and realize actually they need to make some changes themselves. This is not attractive, this is definitely not sexy, and this is not actually helping themselves whatsoever. So in the meantime, whilst you're in the teepee, you just zone out and be completely silent. You don't agree with them, you don't even say yes. You just be completely silent and just go very, very quiet. You're not rebelling back, you're not complaining, not arguing back, just stone silent. And trust me, within a minute or two, after people have wrapped up, they're complaining, they're bickering, they're spending, they'll go silent too, because they'll notice something is different about you. And in the meantime, if you don't have people to surround yourself that are great with money, that's okay. You can read books, you can listen to podcasts, you can watch videos on YouTube, all of which are free. Or if you want, you can have me as your mentor through the Sugar Mama Money Mindset and Manifestation Program, where you get to share with me your goals. I'll help keep you accountable, I'll help you explore your mindset, I'll help you brainstorm as many ideas to help you achieve your financial goals. Of course, I will link that in the podcast notes. But make sure you surround yourself with winners, people who are succeeding, people who are even working on similar goals to you. Energy is contagious, so make sure your energy is worth catching as well as catching others. Number 6, be relentlessly consistent. Small daily actions really do add up. You don't need to invest thousands overnight. You've just got to be consistent. Even if you could just start investing $5 a day, that would mean over the course of a year, you've invested $1,825 a year. Continue on that for 10 years with compounding interest, and suddenly you have a pretty serious investment portfolio. It's interesting, the other day I was looking at our mortgage online, looking at how we can get the loan term down as quickly as possible. And initially I started looking at all the sort of things we can do as lump sums towards the mortgage to help reduce the term. And whilst this definitely had a positive impact in dropping the term from 30 years to 28 years, from 28 years to 25 years, it got to a stage where I literally had exhausted at that point in time all the ideas, and it wasn't down to low enough to what I wanted. So instead, I started playing, and this calculator, by the way, is free. You can use it as well. It's on the Sugar Mama website under calculators. It's called the Lump Sum and Extra Payment Calculator. Anyway, instead I decided to actually scrap all those ideas and just look at increasing our monthly mortgage repayment. Increasing it not by a huge amount, but by about between 5% extra per month. The impact of that in dropping the loan term down was profound. Seeing the amount of time I would save, or we would save as a family, and how much interest we would save, it was dramatically bigger and far more significant in a monetary point of view and a time point of view in comparison to doing little and some big ad hoc extra repayments as a lump sum towards my mortgage. So it is so important that you go with consistent behavior over ad hoc behavior when you have to choose. Of course, both are powerful, but consistent behavior is more impactful than ad hoc erratic behavior. And then when I say ad hoc erratic behavior, I'm talking about those bursts and spurts that you can do additional fun things to help boost the success of your goals, save a little extra money, get that goal achieved faster, is by bursts and spurts. So definitely always lean towards consistency first before you look at those additional extra side hustles. So what I recommend for yourself right now, if you want to be fucking awesome with money, is commit to a daily action. Start with $5 per day. That is less than the daily coffee, might I add, in a cafe, especially if you get a strong cappuccino like I do. You can pay up to $6. And then if you can, make that not just $5 a day saving, make that $5 a day investing. So you can actually start earning passive income. Or perhaps you speak to your accountant or your financial planner or your HR team about salary sacrificing $5 per day, or doing an after-tax contribution to your super of $5 per day. Or perhaps you start reading one chapter per week on personal finance, or listening to one podcast like this per week. Make sure you turn up on a consistent basis. Over the course of the year, you'll be blown away by how much more you understand about personal finance, but you'll also see more money in your savings account, more money in your investment portfolio, and more money in your retirement savings accounts, whether it be Super, KiwiSaver, or of course, if you're in America, 401k plan, RSA accounts. Number 7, be willing to fail. Be willing to fuck up. And I have fucked up plenty of times, trust me. We all make financial mistakes, but the biggest mistake is not actually learning from them. I once pulled out, and I was very new to investing at the time. It was before I became a financial planner, but I pulled out all of my investments in an investment portfolio during a market crash. Of course, I crystallized a loss. Of course, yes, within 18 months, even a little bit less, the market recovered, and I really regret doing that. I really regretted selling. But at the time, I'm human and I didn't know enough. I made a mistake and I'm not ashamed to admit it. There have also been times where my mental health suffered and I went on a little bit of a spending spree, buying things that I didn't necessarily need or want. But I was feeling so empty inside. I was so sleep deprived as a new mother for the first time in a very toxic relationship. And I went out and blew a whole pile of money on luxury items. Yes, I do regret that. Yes, that was a huge waste of money. Yes, that money would have been far better off in my investment portfolio or against my mortgage. But at the end of the day, I have learned from that mistake. I accepted that that was what happened. That was where I was. That was the limit of my financial literacy at that point in time. But I now know not to do that. I know to check in with my mental health. I know to watch and track my spending, particularly around things that I really can easily spend money on, like beautiful handbags and clothes and shoes. And I know that you do not have a knee-jerk reaction when it comes to investing. The markets do crash. The markets do pull back. That's okay. That doesn't mean I sell. In fact, they're often the opportunities for me to level up, to step up and potentially invest more. And it gives me an opportunity to almost a shortcut for my financial goals because it means I can buy the same passive income streams at a significant discount. So they're things to actually now get excited. But because I've consistently improved my financial literacy, I understand, and I also understand way more about myself and my relationship with money. I've learned from my mistakes. So what I recommend you do is have an honest chat with yourself. What are things you really regret doing, that you're embarrassed about, ashamed, don't really like to admit out loud? Go to that and do some deep work. Write it down, but then write down what you learned about yourself and what you have gained from a wisdom, from a message, from an insight, so that you never make that mistake again. And even better, you can share that mistake with other people so that they don't make the same mistake you did. And the moment you've done that, move on. It's okay. Forgive yourself. Give yourself permission to forgive yourself. Dwelling on it won't fix it, but getting on and fixing it, making up for lost time, making up for that wasted lost money certainly will. And that will strengthen you and make you far more resilient, and you'll never make that same mistake ever again. Number 8, sell your skills and earn more. You can only cut back so much when it comes to saving money and budgeting. But on the flip side, your earning potential is limitless. One of my neighbors works from home and she has a dog. And she decided to start pet sitting, where she would look after other people's pets in her own home during the day. She was making an extra $60 per day by doing this. And it meant her dog had another dog to play with. It didn't actually cost her anything at all. Didn't even really take any time because she had to walk her dog anyway. She got to walk this other dog as well. And she was able to sit at home, keep working, and do her normal everyday job. Imagine earning an extra $60 per day, Monday to Friday. How good is that? As I said, didn't cost her any time or money. The owners would drop the dog off in the morning and pick it up in the evening. I've also had friends who've paid off tens of thousands of dollars doing babysitting and nanny work over the weekends and after hours. Again, it was cash in hand. It went straight to their debt. It also stopped them going out and spending a whole pile of money on the weekend. And it meant they were able to undo all the toxic habits that were done to get themselves into the credit card debt in the first place. And if you're not familiar with the $1,000 project portfolio, that is where I've learned to hustle, to save, to do all these different things in order to build up an investment portfolio. I've literally hustled $1,000 at a time. And the moment I had $1,000, I went and invested it. Now that portfolio today is worth over $310,000. And to be really honest with you, I actually haven't really put much into that portfolio over the last 5 years because I had 2 more babies, we moved house twice, we've had more dogs, we've had all sorts of crazy things going on. So it really does show you the power of doing extra things to earn extra money. There is no way I would have been able to find an extra $310,000 in my budget over the last 8-9 years. This has all come from doing extra things in life, taking that money immediately before I got the temptation to spend it and going and investing it. So turn to yourself. Look at what you could do to help earn extra money. Are you really good with computers? Are you really good at decluttering and tidying? Perhaps you could go and do a letterbox drop or put something up on Airtasker where you can come in and offer to declutter people's homes and get them set up and reorganized. I know as a busy working mum, that's something I would definitely appreciate and really value and happily pay for. Or perhaps you're really good at building websites. Is this something you can do over the weekends or at nighttime or early in the morning to help people with their businesses and help run their businesses more efficiently with a brilliantly set up website that's intuitive, easy to use, and has all the right bells and whistles that people need to have a successful online business? Or perhaps you know how to cook. You're really good at cooking and you could start making meals for busy working families there. They can put them in the freezer and pull them out. What are all the different things you can do? What do you actually really enjoy doing? Think about things and think about how you could monetize that. Number 9, stop the excuses. Excuses are costing you so much time and so much money. And this whole thing of, I don't have time to do my finances, well, that's a load of crap. If you don't have time, go and see a financial planner and an accountant. I don't know where to start. Well, start educating yourself. Again, if you don't know where to start, go see a financial planner. Or I'm bad with money. Enough. Cut the bullshit. It is just holding you back in life. And to be really honest, you sound pathetic. No one is above learning money. And if you say you don't have time to fix your finances, when you're 65 wanting to retire, and you realize you have no money in your superannuation or not enough money in your superannuation, or you're still got a mortgage and very little in savings, yes, then you can definitely say, I don't have time, because that is much more of a reality than saying it today. And if you're saying you don't know where to start, well, that's fine. Start with your mindset. And then when you fix your mindset and you know that these excuses are pathetic and holding you back in life, start with a budget. And when you've done a budget, then you can start thinking about financial goals. And as you're setting your financial goals, you can start learning about investing. As you're learning about investing, you can start building up an online savings account and build that up over time. And then, of course, you can start learning about retirement options, why superannuation is so important, how to make sure your superannuation has enough money so that you can actually retire. Stop wasting time. And as you're saving up, use that time to educate yourself. So the moment you have money ready to invest, or you have that deposit ready, or you have some money that you'd like to maybe putting into your superannuation, you have enough education behind yourself. You have enough facts. You know enough about what your goals are, and you can see the value of your decisions, and you can get on and action them and actually do them, rather than sit and wallow in the excuses. I know this is tough, but this is a serving of tough love because I care about you and your financial future. On that note of excuses, I find it so incredibly interesting that people complain about not having enough money, but then you'll see them spend $200 a month on takeaways and getting coffees and lunches and getting around everywhere in an Uber. Those people are the ones that are saying that don't have enough money, that they're poor, they're on a budget, their cash flow is too tight, but yet they can always mysteriously and magically find money for those other things. That's a classic example of people not stepping up and living in a place where they're stuck in the excuses. That $200 per month is certainly enough to start an investment portfolio. So please do yourself a massive favor, get uncomfortable, be honest, and stop those excuses. And then number 10, make financial well-being a fucking priority in your life. Financial well-being is just as important as eating well, getting exercise, being amongst nature, having some sunlight, seeing your friends, having social interaction, reading, writing, even meditating. Financial well-being is up there and is equally as important. And I'll have to say this, when your finances are in order, everything else in life feels so much better. You sleep better, you are far less stressed. You actually have a new profound sense of confidence and faith in yourself. And best of all, money gives you options. It gives you options to choose where you want to work, the hours that you want to work, under what conditions. You can choose where you want to live, what type of home, an apartment, a house, an estate. It gives you options to be able to leave situations that are toxic, like a toxic job or even a toxic relationship. It gives you choices as if you are unwell or need to get some medical advice, you can get the best medical advice that money can pay for because you have financial well-being in your life. It means you can afford to pay for training, education. You can invest in that course, that new program, that new software. You can pay for your children's education, should you wish, or their tertiary education, should you wish. It means you can actually give more money to charity. Financial well-being has to be a priority in your life. It has to be a non-negotiable. And when people do step up and start taking their financial well-being seriously, there is a complete energy shift in the way that they show up every single day. The moment they've started saving, the moment they've started paying off that debt at a faster rate or even investing, you can see their faces look different. They stand better. They have more energy. They seem more vibrant. They have a greater, more positive outlook on life. So if you're listening to this right now and go, all right, well, where should I start? Well, perhaps start with anything that's stressing you out. Go straight to any toxic parasite that is compromising your financial well-being. Look at what you're worrying about. Perhaps you're worried about that credit card debt that just doesn't seem to go away. There is your light bulb moment. Start tackling that. Start working on paying that off as quickly as possible, and then cut that credit card up so that you can never use it again. You can learn from your mistakes and never repeat history. Turn all those wonderful habits that you've learned from paying off that debt into building savings, building up an emergency savings so that you don't actually ever need to have a credit card if you don't want. And then when you've built your emergency savings, start learning about investing. Start learning about the importance of your superannuation, whether you should be looking at doing a salary sacrificing plan or an after-tax contribution, all the other different things you can do to build up your super. Learn about what shares are. Learn about listed investment companies. For anyone that ever asks me, well, I've got $1,000 to invest, where should I do it? I want to, invest in Australian industrial shares. A listed investment company is a great place to start your research because essentially you can buy a whole portfolio of Australian companies in one transaction with that $1,000. And you immediately have a diversified share portfolio straight away in your hand, and you can build upon from that. But promise me this, the moment you start working on your financial well-being, you won't stop. Once you've ticked off that credit card debt, go straight onto the emergency savings. Once you've built those emergency savings, go straight onto the investing. Promise me you will build momentum when it comes to financial well-being. Yes, you might need to take a quick breather to catch your breath and reset, but the moment you are recharged, get back on the bandwagon again and keep working on your financial well-being. As explained, you've got to take massive action. You've got to be uncomfortable with facing the truths and reality of where you may have previously stuffed up and build a bridge and get on with it, fixing any damage that you've previously done to your financial well-being. You've got to surround yourself with those winners, read those books, listen to those podcasts, have those conversations with people who've achieved success. As I said, you can join the Sugar Mama Money Mindset Manifestation Program. You've got to take complete ownership of your financial life. You've got to know about the importance of having discipline over motivation. Motivation is great, but it's not going to get you all the way through. You need to have as much automated as possible so that you have that habit system in place. So look, there you have it. 10 ways on how to be fucking awesome with your money. As you now know, it's definitely not about luck or about waiting for the right time. It's about taking control and building strong habits and showing up every single day. The power is in your hands. Now, if you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you could leave me a rating and review. Let me know what you like hearing, what you want to hear more of, and even what you don't want to hear about. Please leave me a rating and review. I promise you, I read this, I appreciate your feedback, and I go and apply because I'm here running this podcast channel that's directed by you. And if you are ready to up your financial well-being, of course, jump into the Sugar Mama Budget and Cashflow Academy. Jump into my Money Mindset Manifestation Program. Let's keep this conversation going because this is all about being part of the financial well-being momentum. Now, until next time, stay focused, stay consistent, and keep that financial fire burning bright within. This is Sugar Mama's Fire.